All right, I'm going to call to order the Town Council regular meeting on February 17th, 2026. Our invocation will be done by Reverend Tori Liferidge of Grace Reformed Episcopal Church.
Good evening, Council. Let us pray. Gracious and almighty God, we thank you so much for just the gift of this day and another opportunity to gather together, oh God, and to be about the business of this, your town, oh God. We are grateful for all that you're doing in our midst. We thank you, oh God, for those who you've called to be servant leaders among us, oh God. We just pray that you endow your spirit among them, oh God, that they might be filled afresh, that they might seek to do your good will, oh God, that serve according to your will. And, oh God, to serve your people, oh God. We all created by you, oh God, and made in the image and likeness of you. Help us to live in that one true humanity. God, we pray right now for every department, oh God, every staff member, oh God. We pray that you continue to bless and cover this town, that we might go according to your guidance and your discernment and your wisdom. For all great things, we thank you for them in advance. And it's in your holy and precious name we pray. And we say amen.
Amen. Our pledge of allegiance will be done by Council Member Ware.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today we have a couple special proclamations. Our first one's going to be the 2026 Women of Construction Week. That's March 1st through 7th, 2026. Is Megan Shatterfield. Please come up to the podium. And I will read it, then we'll come up and I will present it to you. 2026 Women of Construction Week, March 1st through the 7th. Whereas Women of Construction is a newly established organization dedicated to creating a strong network of women across the construction industry. And whereas the organization was founded to provide a platform for women in construction to connect, learn, and lead, fostering mentorship, professional development, and opportunities for growth in an ever-expanding industry. And whereas the construction community continues to drive economic and community development through major infrastructure, industrial, and civic projects. And Women of Construction proudly promotes the inclusion and advancement of women in every facet of that progress. And whereas Women of Construction partners with local businesses, trade organizations, and educational institutions to raise awareness of skilled trade careers, support workforce development, and inspire future generations to explore the many pathways within construction. And whereas through volunteerism, community engagement, and the spirit of collaboration, Women of Construction seeks to make a lasting impact throughout the region. Now, therefore, I, Thomas J. Hamilton, Jr., Mayor and Town Council members of Moncks Corner, South Carolina, do hereby designate Women of Construction and its dedicated founding members for the commitment to empowering women, supporting workforce growth, and strengthening our community, and do hereby proclaim the week of March 1st through 7th, 2026 as Women of Construction Week. So, congratulations. If you'd like to say a few words.
Wasn't expecting that, but just in case I had something prepared. So first of all, thank you so much on behalf of Women of Construction. I'm truly honored to accept this proclamation recognizing the first week of March as Women of Construction Week. As you mentioned, construction is about building more than structures. It's about building opportunity and strengthening our communities. So women in this industry contribute skill, leadership, and dedication every day, and this recognition highlights the important role that they play in shaping our town's future. So thank you, Mayor Hamilton and Town Council, for your support and celebrating the impact of women in construction. It means more than you.
Awesome. Well, come up here. I'll get some pictures. Get our person, let's see, is, Liva? Here, give me a little bit of the person here. So we'll split here, and this is her.
One, two, three.
Our next proclamation is honoring Black History Month in the town of Moncks Corner. Could I get Ms. Simmons, Mr. Liferidge, Pastor Sam, anybody else that wants to come up to the podium? As far as we know, this is the first time that the town is doing this honor. Well overdue. Whereas Black History Month is observed each February across the United States to honor the achievements, leadership, and enduring contributions of African Americans whose strength, creativity, and resilience have shaped the nation's history and enriched its cultural, civic, and economic life. And whereas the town of Moncks Corner recognizes that the story of Black Americans is inseparable from the story of America itself, reflecting generations who have preserved through injustice while advancing the ideals of freedom, equality, and opportunity for all. Whereas African Americans in Moncks Corner and throughout Berkeley County have played a vital role in building strong neighborhoods, strengthening local institutions, enriching our arts and culture, and contributing to the growth and character of our community. And whereas Black History Month provides an opportunity for residents of Moncks Corner to learn from the past, celebrate the present, and commit to a future where every individual is valued, respected, and empowered to thrive. And whereas the town encourages all residents, schools, faith communities, and organizations to engage in meaningful reflection, education, and celebration that honors the legacy and ongoing contributions of African Americans. And whereas by recognizing Black History Month, Moncks Corner reaffirms its dedication to fostering unity, understanding, and shared purpose among all who call this community home. Therefore, I, Thomas J. Hamilton Jr., Mayor and Town Council of the Town of Moncks Corner, do hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month in the Town of Moncks Corner and encourage all residents to join in celebrating the rich heritage, achievements, and contributions of African Americans past, present, and future. And if you'd like to say a few words.
First of all, I want to thank the mayor and the council for recognizing the historic contributions of African Americans to this community and to the country itself. This is the first time, as you said, this has been done. So we do thank you for that recognition. As a lifelong resident of Berkeley County, growing up here, I see a lot of changes. I see some things that have, there are some changes that we still need to work on, but I've seen a lot of changes over the 70 years that I've been living here. So again, we just want to thank you, and we look forward to working with you and working with the town and enhancing what you all are doing now, and just making more opportunities, extending those opportunities to everyone, knowing that everyone should be afforded those same opportunities. And again, as a teacher, former teacher of history, this is very important to me, that we recognize the history and the contributions of all Americans and all of us within the community and what's been done to build this community. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Pastor Sam? Okay, well, thank y'all. Well, let's come up here. Y'all come up. Yes. The best looking one of us have the plaque.
That's good. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes, January 13th, 2026. I have a motion. Second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Mayor's report. All right, on January 15th, attended the swearing-in ceremony for Associate Municipal Judge Amber Daniels Broughton and Police Chief Antoine Richardson. Councilman Dennis and Dingle was also in attendance. On January 16th, I was honored to be invited to the Berkeley County School District's Dr. Martin Luther King Luncheon. It was a privilege to join community leaders, including Councilman David Dennis, in celebrating Dr. King's legacy. Chief Jackson and several people from the fire department also attended. On January 19th, I had the privilege of riding in the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Parade alongside Councilman Dingle, and later attended the service at Moncks Corner AME Church, where Councilwoman Lloyd attended as well. I want to thank the Moncks Corner Police Department, the Moncks Corner Fire Department, and the Berkeley County Progressive League for their support and for hosting this meaningful event. On January 20th, I had the opportunity to attend the Hometown Legislative Day in Columbia with Councilman Dennis and Dingle. We had an opportunity to meet with state leaders and network with other local elected officials. On the 21st, Councilman Dingle and I participated in municipal elected officials training, during which I also completed the advanced public safety course. On January 23rd, I spent a full day riding along with one of our traffic patrol officers. Officer Hobart did a great job in letting me know their daily struggles, things that they do and have to deal with when they're out on the road. It was eye-opening, to say the least. I plan on riding along on a night shift with our DUI officer very soon to see the things that they also encounter. On January 28th, I attended a meeting with the Moncks Corner Business Connection Group to discuss upcoming initiatives and plans for the town. On January 31st, we all know we had a snow event in the town of Moncks Corner. I just want to thank our public service department, our police department, our fire department. You know, while a lot of us got to stay home and be safe, they was out on the roads to make sure that all of us was safe. So thank you very much for that. Then on February 6th, we had a very frightening incident, which a child was struck by a car while walking a crosswalk at Moncks Corner Elementary. I visited him and his mother at their home, spent some time with them, took him a nice little gift. He was doing well. Luckily, he was wearing a bicycle helmet when he was crossing the street. This is a very powerful reminder to put your phones down while you're behind the wheel of a car. February 11th, I joined Libba Rents, Susan Gilmore, and Matt Fluharty at Santee Cooper Credit Union, where we received a generous $1,100 donation for the Miracle League. Santee Cooper Credit Union is a dedicated partner, consistently volunteer as buddies. This is my time to tell anyone in attendance, anyone that's watching from home, we need buddies. We're actually adding another game to Monday night, so if you or your group would like to come out and volunteer, please reach out to myself, Matt Fluharty, or Libba Wrench, or anybody in the recreation department. Finally, on February 13th, I participated in a Valentine's luncheon at Pruitt Health with the Moncks Corner Police Department. We served lunches, spent time in fellowship with the residents, and shared treats to brighten their day. One thing I can say is that we are dedicated to the community, the police department, the fire department. You know, Chief Jackson and Chief Richardson truly believes that we have to be a good community partner. Upcoming events, Let the Shenanigans Begin, Saturday, March 7th from 12 to 3 p.m. on Main Street. The Moncks Corner Farmers Market will be held on Thursdays beginning April 2nd through November 12th from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Market Pavilion. Music on Main on Mondays, April 6th, 13th, 27th at Unity Park from 6 to 8 p.m. And Pickin' in the Corner, sponsored by the Town of Moncks Corner and Collectors Corner, will be held on Saturday, April 11th from 10 to 3 p.m. on Main Street. That's the end of my report. Now the administrator's report, Jeffrey Lord.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I know we have a lot on the agenda tonight, so I'm going to keep this quick. Only two things I have is an update on Lacey Park. That project has been bid, and the bid is supposed to come in on March the 9th. So hopefully we'll have that for you for consideration next month. And the only other thing is Chief Jackson has an introduction for you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to introduce this afternoon is Engineer Jonathan Barker, began his fire career August the 8th, 2018 with the Winsburg County Fire Service. And he joined the Moncks Corner Fire Department on February the 10th of 2026. In his addition, he also serves in the Army National Guard, so we're excited about that. And he also is the South Carolina Fire Academy instructor, so he brings a lot of teaching experience to our department. So we are excited to have Jonathan with us.
All right.
That concludes my report.
All right. New business, resolution safety action plan.
Yes, Mayor and Council, so this resolution before you is related to the safety study that the town's doing through the SS4A grant. We had a stakeholder meeting last week. We have a public meeting tomorrow. There are currently public surveys out online for people to take surveys for this study. What this resolution says is that the goal is to get to 0 deaths on our roads, and that we will do the plan, and then we will implement the plan. And so this resolution is just necessary step in that process.
What time is the public meeting tomorrow?
It is from 5 to 7.
All right, do I have a motion? So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Consideration engineering proposal for marking parking spaces on Main Street. Administrator Lord.
Yes, sir. If council will remember, we engaged Stantec to do a study of our downtown for painting the curbs and marking parallel parking spaces. The direction I received when I presented it to the council was to move forward. To do that, we need a permit from DOT. DOT requiring further engineering, showing site distances and site triangles, that kind of thing. So what this is a proposal from Stantec to do that, to get us through the permitting process, and the proposal is for $6,500. I'll remind the council that we selected Stantec. They are your on-call for anything that's traffic related.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Consideration engineering proposal for marking parking spaces on, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hit that one. Consideration engineering proposal for upgrade of California Branch Crossing at Main Street.
So this is another grant that we're implementing. This is a grant through the state and local government, through the Interior Department. This is an allocation through the Interior bill that was just adopted by the federal government through Lindsey Graham's office. And so they allocated $1.6 million, almost $1.7 million for the Main Street culvert improvement. And if you remember, we've been working on the culvert improvements. We got Jolly, Whitesville, Winter is the bids are in front of you tonight. Main Street would be the next one. And so this is the engineering for that. Now, the federal grant that we received will only pay about half of the anticipated cost. Our intention is to apply for RIA in the fall, and a crucial component for us to be able to do that is to have it already engineered and ready to go. So this is for the engineering for that. Their proposal is for $231,500. Again, Seaman Whiteside is the firm that you selected to do your stormwater design and engineering.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Mr. Mayor, if I may real quick. Jeff, going to all of this DOT work and California Branch and Main Street, I want to back up real quick to Lacey Park being bid out. Weren't we going to do something with Murray Drive before we?
So Murray Drive is going to happen after because we don't have funding for that. But the way that Lacey Park is designed is that the Murray Drive realignment can happen without negatively impacting the park. The park is designed ready for that.
Okay, no, I was just under the impression we were looking at that intersection at Subway, Lacey Park, the Scotchman and all that before.
We are,
Okay.
we are,
But before all of that took place.
right, so the intent is we have the funding now for Lacey Park.
Okay.
Because the grant we received from the Land and Water Conservation Fund, it has a sunset, we need to move forward on that. The grant funds that we're hoping to use toward the realignment would come from this SS4A program. If the study shows that that improvement needs to happen, that'd be something we could apply for.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, consideration Winter Street Drainage Improvement Contract, Administrator Lord.
All right, so Winter Street, this one, if I can get to it real quick. So Winter Street is a project that we've been working on for about 4 years now. The CTC allocated, this would be a lot more helpful if I can find my place here. Just one moment. All right, so the CTC allocated $422,867 for this project. But like the Whitesville and Winter projects, we expected it to go a lot more than expected because of the engineering requirements from SCDOT. If you remember, those projects came in like 50% over what was expected. So we applied to RIA for the balance. We received a grant from them for $1.2 million, which gives us about $1.6 million to do this project. So that project was bid out. Those bids, it was bid out on January 5th. Those bids came in on February 4th. Amazingly, we received 10 bids for this project, which is relatively unheard of. And in those bids, the low bid is only $691,000. So we are less than half of our grant funds to be able to do this project. So it's wonderful. Now, of those 10 bids, 3 of them were within $30,000 of each other. So we don't think that this is an anomaly. And so we think it's a good bid. And the engineers reviewed the firm. That is the low bid, and their recommendation is to approve the low bid for $691,075.62.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion? Real quick, what, with the additional funds that we have left over, what are you envisioning?
Well, we have to work with RIA, because that's, the money that we asked for was for this project. And so we're going to be very limited on what we can do. I'm hoping that we can maybe do some additional improvements adjacent to this, but we have to get with RIA first. And so RIA is reviewing this. Once they approve it, y'all have approved it, then we can move forward, and then we can have a conversation with them for what we can do with those additional funds. But it would have to be stormwater related. It would have to be related to this project.
Okay.
And Stantec's aware of all these other projects that have taken place on Jolly, Hill Street.
Yes.
So, okay, it's just kind of, they're engineering the branch and we're already going ahead and doing culverts and things of that nature. This one's going before the other, but,
No, the studies showed us what needed to be done,
okay.
and so we're just implementing the study.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Consideration Heatley Street Parking Intergovernmental Agreement. Administrator Lord?
Yes, so this is something we've been working with Berkeley County and the school district on. I have not been going through my slides. All right, so this is the Heatley Street corner, and you can see it has 3 parcels there. The parcel to Plan East would be the town parcel. The one in the middle is the school district, and one on the left belongs to the county. And the idea is that everybody needs parking. And if we work together, then we can have, first of all, public parking for everybody downtown, but also more parking because you don't have an entrance for every single one. And so it just makes a better product for downtown and a public parking area to serve the entire area. So this intergovernmental agreement lays this out. So we would do the engineering on this. We do have a grant to start on this. It's $350,000. The grant doesn't pay for the engineering, it pays for the construction, part of the construction, and the county has agreed to do in-kind services for the paving and curbing and site work. And so we would do the engineering, we would do the landscaping, and anything else and the difference that needs to be done there. So this intergovernmental agreement lays out that the 3 entities are going to be saving it, working together. The 3 entities are going to have access to it. It will be public parking, and then it sets out the roles where this is the town-led project. Berkeley County is going to do in-kind services. The school district, their part is just providing access to the property.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Consideration intergovernmental easement agreement, Dr. William Lacey Memorial Park. Administrator Lord?
Okay, so Councilman Swetman was just talking about the Lacey Park. So this is the site plan for the Lacey Park improvement, which is currently out to bid. And as you can see, again, Plan East, there's parking. Plan West, there's parking. These are the current parking areas. This is exactly where the parking areas are now. But the ones on the east side here are the ones that we're talking about. So that is a area that is, the parcel is owned by the county, and currently it is used as parking for the park, but because we're doing improvements out there, we asked the county for an easement over that area. It's very small. As you can see, it's like a sliver across the parking area that we've asked for. And so this would be accepting that easement from the county for parking at Lacey Park.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Consideration Town Hall and Fire Station 1 CMR Construction Manager Pre-Construction Services. Administrator Lord?
All right, so for the town hall project, let me back up. So traditionally, we've always done a design bid build process. We pay an architect to design it, we bid it out, and then whoever's the lowest bid gets to build it. For more complicated projects, that becomes an issue because a lot of times there are things that are found during the construction process or that the contractor can recognize as a way to save money. And also kind of lock them in so the final cost. So in a traditional design bid build, architect designs it, you bid it out, you get the low bid, and then because it's complicated, you're doing renovations and everything that we're planning on doing, you end up with a lot of change orders. And so then your price just keeps going up. So with the construction manager at risk form is you bring in an architect, you select the contractor, we ask for qualifications, staff review those qualifications, select the contractor, and then you bring that contractor on during the design process. And so then they are doing those pre-construction services with their architect so that when you end up with a design, then that design is locked in and they're at risk And so if they get into it and ends up, you know, something else has to be done or something was missed, that's on them. Those change orders won't happen. And so this is, for complicated projects like this, a really good way to manage those unknown costs because you're bringing in the contractor early. So the town solicited qualifications back in May and reviewed those qualifications. However, the scope of the project changed, as council is aware, because we were originally looking at adding on to this facility instead of trying to build something else. So because of that, we told them to wait. We wanted to finish the concept design to make sure that the scale and scope was what we presented to you. So what is in front of you is their proposal to do those pre-construction services. It's broken into two different agreements. One's the public safety portion because we have a grant from the county to help pay for that. And the other one is the non-public safety because those aren't grant funded, but the town's paying for those. So the total for those two together is $45,339. I will say also that once pre-construction is done and the design is set, and then we move on to the construction phase, we'll have another agreement with them, setting out their fees for that, with the industry standard for that. But they will then credit this towards that. So this will go towards their fee going forward. However, if for some reason the town decides not to build it or decides to go with another construction firm, then they would, not lost all the work they put into it. So the proposal for you is for pre-construction services from Edifice Engineering for $45,339.
And the markups on this, Jeff, these were our changes on this agreement?
That's adapting it from a standard agreement to a pre-construction services agreement.
So we just
Yeah,
basically redacted that language out of
Yes.
there to suit what we were bidding on.
yes, sir.
Do I have
Motion to approve.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? First reading, consider a development agreement, DA-25-01, request for one parcel, TMS 162-00-01-017, totaling 31.3 acres located on US Highway 52. The parcel would be zoned planned development to allow single-family detached dwelling units, commercial development, and a dedicated civic recreation space.
Mr.
Justin?
Mayor, I got a staff conflict with this, so I'm going to ask to be recused from it.
Okay.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Council. Tonight is the first of two readings required by state law for development agreement. Development agreement occurs anytime a development over 25 acres comes before the town, or there's a chance or an opportunity for the town to protect our interests, as well as the developer to protect theirs and future rights that they may have. So it's a binding agreement that we come to play and negotiate with the developer to ensure that whatever they do promise us or whatever they have promised us, we can enforce. And obviously, y'all commit to not changing their zoning after the fact. So with that being said, this is the first reading for the development agreement on Weathers Track. It is currently zoned heavy industrial. The property is zoned heavy industrial in the county and is located off Ben Barron. There are two other access points to US 52, which will serve as other points. Y'all have previously heard the first reading for the PD, which is a part of the development agreement. And y'all will hear the second public hearing for that PD, that planned development, at your next meeting in March 17th, which will also be the second reading and public hearing for the development agreement. So there will be some time to tweak, modify, or otherwise ask questions. And by no means does a vote tonight mean that there are no other hurdles. So it's going to be some conversation to be had. But this is the first reading. The analogy that I like to use between development agreements and PD for those, as it's a learning process for myself as well, this is the financing of a car. This is the interest rate. This is what the rate is going to be. This is what the monthly payments are going to be. This is how much you have to have down, the term of the loan, stuff of that nature. The very technical, very legalese framework, so to speak, of how to purchase that car. Whereas the PD is more of the options. Are we getting leather? Are we getting cloth? What color are we getting? Are we getting blind spot monitorings? The things that, you know, matter on your day-to-day basis, where this is the legalese on how much you're signing your life away. So both serve a purpose, but this one is a little bit more protecting the town and protecting the developer's interests moving forward. These are the properties in question, as you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, highlighted in the blue. There is a portion of the property on the corner of Ben Barron and 52 that is part of this request and will be annexed as such. I believe it's 50 feet wide, which is the exact amount for right-of-way. This is the most up-to-date layout. As I said, this has been going on for about 13, 14 months now. The most recent rendering that y'all have seen in the PD, and this PD was heard back, I believe, in August, it showed some townhomes. And I want to be very clear, y'all's direction to staff and the developer was to eliminate the townhomes. They have done that. Again, this will come back before y'all in March 17th. But I did want to be very clear because there was a typo on my behalf on the agenda items. There will not be any townhomes associated with this project now or ever. So it's going to be 316 single-family detached dwellings with some commercial highlighted in the purple, and the blue, which is the town facility that we look to protect and make sure that actually does occur, which is 6 pickleball courts, 3 covered. That is portion of or what was recommended in the Parks Master Plan done in 2022, 2023, I believe, as one of the higher rated things. And as Mr. Mayor, you know, staffs, we are always trying to get the best deal for the town, not just future residents, but our current residents. And that was one of the things on that Parks plan. So that's why the pickleball court's highlighted here. The commercial use up to 10 acres, about 62,500. We've seen numbers go up to 70,000. We are still working with the developer to make sure that we know exactly what it is we are getting and what they're committing to. They have prohibited quite a few uses in there to make sure that whatever does come on 52, it's not just run-of-the-mill generic things that we could get anyways. We want to make sure that this is a commercial area that we can be proud of. So you can read some of the allowable uses as well as some of the prohibited uses developers offered up. The pickleball courts, as I mentioned, and that screenshot was taken directly out of the Parks Master Plan. So this is kind of where this all comes full circle. A pavilion matching our existing town facilities that we're proud of, dedicated parking just for this park, and obviously 6 courts with 3 covered. The other buffers and some of the other protections that will be in the PD document is a type C buffer, and we're still tweaking this. This is from an older slide, but we want to make sure that particularly some of the industrial properties on Ben Barron are protected against this residential and future residents, obviously, are protected against existing industrial. So we've upped those as well. Landscaping, we hope to see some more landscaping up at 52, which we've done. Riverstone, points further south is obviously the Shine Lane, and Perry Hill will be taken into consideration and installing soon if they haven't already, as well as the church entrance, as I mentioned. We do not require that roads are landscaped. We wanted to make sure we are cognizant of the church and protective of that, but also have a nice gateway into the development from Ben Barron, which is a natural design road per our traffic engineers. And so we are requiring, and the developers agreed to, enhanced, or actually just upfront, landscaping 40 to 60 foot increments with evergreen shrubs. Again, we want this to be something proud of, that the town can, it fits into our corridors. Trail system as well, continue the trail system that we currently have. Snakes through Carolina Groves, continues points south through the Berkeley Electric Co-op. Eventually when that stuff further down to Galliard Road develops, that trail will extend. Obviously that's a public trail that anybody can use now. This is just another one of the links in the chain, so the developer will add that, and additional trails as well. We're very big on mobility and making sure that all residents have the access to that, and so there are trails along the wetlands, and there's quite a few on this property that are protected that we hope to activate as well. So currently, as the recap, staff does recommend approval of the development agreement. It has been blessed by the town attorney. We've gone back and forth with the developer's attorney to make sure all the language is protective of us and our best interest, and they've done the same on their behalf. As I mentioned, the planning development, or the planned development, which is the type of car we're looking at, was approved, recommended approval by Planning Commission on August 26th. Town Council heard it for first reading in September. I misspoke, and we'll get into that in a second. As well as the second reading public hearing will be March 17th, so 1 month from today. The development agreement, this is the first reading. There's a second required reading and public hearing for the development agreement also in March 17th. We'd like these things to come across the finish line at the same time. I'm available for any questions, should you have any. Yes, sir.
I've got some. Okay, so this was heard a little over a year ago, correct?
No, sir, about 5-6 months.
Sooner than that.
Sooner, yes, sir.
Okay.
September, y'all heard it September 16th of last year.
The one thing that caught my eye, I think, from the first discussions that we had on this, when it was first presented, was the commercial aspect of this property. And during that initial meeting, the developers at that time stated they were gonna do commercial up to. I think we can go back in the minutes and look, that I wanted a floor on that commercial as far as a minimum. The last slide, or one of the last slides that you had up, said up to. There was no floor of minimum of 30 or 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 commercial. My concern is going back to that same meeting, whatever, a few months ago, 6 months ago, that if we don't get that, where do we stand on a profitability standpoint for the town as far as 5 years down the road, all of a sudden this is, I hate to use the term loser investment, but it starts costing the citizens of this town to support this neighborhood.
Excellent question. So obviously, the more commercial that we have, the less impactful it is to our bottom line and the town's coffers. Staff has made them aware, obviously they were in the room when you brought that up, and we have made them aware that that continues to be a sticking point for us. Right now, what we recommend approval of the development agreement, which is very light on that language for that. The PD will be a little heavier handed. And at that point, if we feel that it's not, the floor is not in there to sufficiently address your concerns, we'll change our recommendation, and y'all are the final vote. And I may have a little bit more to add to that.
Another point that we had, and I believe it was discussed on this specific neighborhood, was ingress and egress as it pertains to Highway 52, and residents and I guess business owners and customers of this new neighborhood would have the ability to turn right and left, or just one direction. I can't remember exactly what was discussed. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of information other than the ordinance and the package to review any new site plan that they had proposed.
Well, and remember that this is the development agreement, so it will just be legalese. It will not, it will be the legal agreement between the town and the developer to go in partnership together to have this developed. The PD is where that's going to be laid out, the specific entrances, how those function, and y'all haven't seen the final draft of that yet. That will come in March 17th.
Okay, so we're supposed to vote on this tonight and then second it and then start seeing what we're actually voting on?
And again, it's the analogy that I use is sometimes you can work out the numbers on the car deal, make sure you can afford what you're doing, or you can look at the car and say, that's the one I want, let's make the numbers work. And in this case, where it's flexible in terms of we're trying to hit the sweet spot on both, this agreement is the financing of it, right? It doesn't matter if the car you want, if you can't get the financing, it doesn't matter anyways. Prime example, if that's the car you have your heart set on, you find a way to make the financing work. So they marry up together at the very end. They are technically going to be one document. So this portion of that document is just the financing of the car. It's just what is the town gonna get protected from in terms of financing, specifically our facilities, and what thresholds we're gonna make them build to. Not specifically the design of it, if that makes sense. The PD is where it's gonna be inlaid.
I guess my concern at this point was that, those two items, as far as the commercial aspect of it, to support the tax base. Number two was the ingress and egress because of the traffic concerns on Highway 52. And I don't know, I guess just based on this, and this is my feeling, I hate car shopping, by the way, so terrible.
I didn't say it was a good one.
So I feel like, and this is just me, I'm being asked to vote on this when there has been no traction on the previous guidance that we gave the developer. That's just me. Specifically, the floor on the commercial and the ingress and egresses. And I understand not wanting to spend money, until we have a green light. but it's hard for me to give a green light when I can't see what I'm voting on. That's just where I stand. Thank you.
Justin,
I'm confused here. Are we talking about Village Square, or are we talking about the weather strap?
weather strike.
Yeah, I
So
apologize.
So
we
you-
got
yeah.
these flipped, or what?
Do I have them flipped? I
No,
apologize.
it should be 14, I think
Well,
was,
14 Village Square.
now you got me.
Did I get them out of order?
Yeah, it's out of
I
order.
think it's out of order.
It's out of order.
So all we're voting on here is a development agreement, nothing else?
Yes, sir. That's on both of agenda items. Yes, sir.
I agree with Chad. I mean, we're not seeing what we're getting. We're not seeing.
Well, sell me on this, car
Any
salesman.
changes from what we-
Sell me what, why, you know, and I agree.
Hold up. Please, no comments from the crowd, please. All right.
But so we're given approval for them to enter a development agreement with the town. Is that
Well,
correct?
First reading.
This is first reading. Yes, sir.
So they've still got to come back and meet the TIA, they've got to meet this. What if next meeting they come back with all of the stuff that I have had questions on and some other members of council had questions on, and we're not satisfied?
Then you vote no.
Are we locked in at that point to commit to
No.
them?
That's why they come in together. The PD and the DA comes in together. Y'all approve them the same night. That's the best way on the town's behalf to do it. Because again, to your point, we don't want y'all to agree to a development agreement and not see everything behind the curtain, right? You want us to know exactly what you're gonna pay for.
Well, here's my thing.
Before you get it.
Here's my only issue with that. We were presented this stuff a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the meeting resulted with some guidance to the developer. I'm not seeing where anything has been returned to us other than an agreement and not anything that we've asked for.
So shouldn't the agreement and the first, what we looked at in September, been done at the same time? Did we put the cart before the horse with the September meeting?
That's not a decision staff. It wasn't up to us. Did we request it? Yes.
So historically, we've done development agreements with one reading. But talking to our attorney, he said we should be doing 2 readings. So that's why normally you would have one reading with a development agreement at the same time as the second reading with the PD, based on prior experience. But in working through this with our attorney, he said we need to do a first reading and then a second reading on the development agreement. That's why this one's being done different.
So to answer, it should have came in 1 and 1. Unfortunately, we didn't find this out. The attorney didn't advise us of that until after they had submitted the first reading for the PD. But they will come in together across the finish line March 17th, unless y'all deem otherwise.
It just kind of reminds me of a politician up in Washington said, you know, they said, let's pass it to see what's in it. And I
Well,
feel that's what we're getting into.
And I would, in my professional recommendation to y'all, the first reading tonight is the framework and is by no means binding. Y'all are voting to hear it again.
Right.
Not approving.
Anything.
Okay.
Correct.
I
And,
want my points noted on the prior.
100%.
yeah, and
as said,
I
we will take
think.
your recommendation if they don't address those points.
Right, and I'll go along with Chad on this one. They need to give us a bottom line number of how much of the commercial we're gonna have. And they better have that by next meeting.
Yes,
If
sir.
it moves forward.
And I want to make it clear to the public out here and the people listening online, I am not against growth. I believe in people's property rights. If it's any of y'all sitting out there trying to sell your property to somebody to retire, to put your kids through college, whatever else, I believe in personal property rights. At the same point, it's our duty up here to kind of vet these neighborhoods to a certain extent. And when we ask for specific things, and I'll go back and I'll put all the blame on me, when I ask for something and it's not addressed 3 or 4 months later, I don't feel like I can go along with it. I feel like I'm being hoodwinked by a car salesman, as Justin so eloquently put it. And I just don't care for that, but I'm not against growth altogether. I'm not against individuals, families, or whatever else making money to support their families, put their kids through college, whatever else. The people's land is the people's land, but I would like my questions addressed.
So, I mean, where I'm at with this is, I know I voted against this back in September. We have the Heatley Street projects going on. What is it?
Casabo
Casabo
Meadows.
Meadows.
That we don't know the impact of that to our area yet. We have the rest of the Merrimack project that we don't know the impact of our area. The Perry Hill projects, some of it's in the town, some of it's in the county. We don't know the impact. The Sterling Oaks townhomes, or whatever they're called, that's yet to go vertical. We don't know the impacts of what we're getting into. We're already over capacity in recreation where we're putting a cap because we don't have the facilities, we can't find the coaches, we can't find the officials, and now we're looking at another 300 homes right here on top of what's yet to be built.
I got something I'll put in. Every one of them ones you just named, except for the townhomes at Sterling Oaks, which the town didn't have no real choice on because they had the zoning. I think every one of them other ones was a bad deal for the town. I wasn't here for that. I'd have fought against those because all it gave you was townhomes and nothing else. When I come in, and this is what I want to explain to the people watching and all, one thing that I ask for when I come in, I'm not a big fan of townhomes. I know that in some areas you're going to have them. And that's why we went back to this developer and says, we don't want the townhomes, we want single-family homes. And they worked with us on it. I also asked that we get a commercial aspect because, believe it or not, you can build all the homes and townhomes you want. You're not going to make money, and over time, you're going to lose money on them with the services you provide. So at the end of the day, we need developments that have a commercial aspect because commercial pays the bills. Now, I took it a step further because I see all these developments like, Carolina Groves and several others, and they build them, and they're beautiful. And they got their swimming pools, and they got their playgrounds. But me and you, we can't go play on them. We can't go swim in them. So something else I've asked staff is we've had a report done, a survey. So some of the things we've asked for is baseball fields, soccer fields, the walking trails, the pickleball. And in this instance, when the developer looked at what we was asking, they said, yes, we could do pickleball. Now, the good thing about that for us is you would have it built and they would sign it over to the town. And that's about $2 million that the town wouldn't have to spend to build it, right? Another aspect of this is impact fees. We passed impact fees last year. That will help us with fire, police, recreation, sanitation, and traffic. So we've done a lot to address not just building neighborhoods to build them. Now, here's another aspect you got to look at. We had, if anybody pays attention to anything, Lazy Hill Road, the Dangerfield track. They come to the town first. We said no. We said no for several reasons. Number one, it didn't give us anything for the town. It didn't give us any commercial. And it could have affected our ISO rating with the fire department, which would have cost every citizen more on their home insurance. So we said no. So they're going through the county. Same thing happened with some townhomes past Gilliard Road. It was just a bunch of townhomes packed into one little area. We rejected it, but it's going ahead anyway. Perry Hill 2, same thing. We said no, but it's going to be continued anyway. So when developments like this come up, yes, we have to fine tune it. Yes, we have to get it to the best product we can for the town. But if we don't, and they go and build anyway without us getting anything, I'm going to tell you what, within 5 years, we're going to be raising your property taxes. We're going to have to. If we don't have the growth, the development, the commercial, it gets stagnant. So I'm not up here, and when I ran on smart growth. We have several people that's in here I know that is no growth. That's not going to work. But the product we're bringing you, and I promise you, our staff is fighting for the best possible product for the town and the citizens. You're going to have a development that you're going to get to go and use. That's huge. So for me, yes, we all talk about growth, traffic, schools, I get it. But if we don't do it and it gets built anyway, we're going to have the same things without any benefit for the citizens of the town of Moncks Corner. And that's going to harm us all in the long run. So please, I'm sorry.
And one question I do have, and going piggybacking off your comment, if this project was denied, just theoretically at the town level, they could go to the county and, you know, get in the backlog up there a year or 2 years, and it could be built.
Marshall's here, don't be mean to the county.
Those guys, they're dealing with stuff on a different scale than we're dealing with here. But effectively, in 2 to 3 years, this could come online under county zoning. We would still have, as a town, shared responsibilities through our fire and police to service that area. Am I correct in that? No?
So we have.
Mutual aid.
We have
Mutual aid, rather.
mutual and automatic aid with the fire department, and we have mutual aid with the police department. So we would go to a fire, we would only go for a police call if asked to assist.
But theoretically,
Yes.
Yeah.
town residents now and town limits could be paying for a service
Right.
to a county
But
facility.
we would also, our police officers would be, you know, their impact on like Highway 52, which is entirely in town.
Right.
So far as, you know, the police, their need to cover those citizens at home mitigated, but not when they go to businesses and when they go down the road. So yes, we would have that impact.
And the perfect examples of this is Fox Bank and Moss Grove. Half's in the county, half's in the town, and trust me, that is a mess on many levels, Brian.
This piece of property is not a, what's it zoned now?
Heavy industrial?
So it's not a by right.
It's, no, sir.
They have to go through rezoning.
Yes, sir.
So that we will annex and rezone, or if we deny it, that the county will
Yes, sir.
rezone it. So it's not a by right. Okay.
It'd be the exact same, similar situation of an example you used, Perry Hill. The reason why the back half of Perry Hill is not in the town is because y'all denied it.
That's right. But what was that zone at the time?
They had to get it rezoned through the county, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, I take that back, I know for a fact they got it rezoned through the county.
Any other questions for him? Do I have a motion?
I tell you what,
Motion to deny.
We have a motion to deny. Do you have a second? All right.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve. And the only reason I am is we're not obligated to anything at this point, correct?
And I'll second that.
And I wanna see the numbers and I wanna see something finite. If not, I'm going back to my original September vote of no on this.
Yes, sir.
But if this is the path that has to be taken without any obligation to the town, I don't feel like I've seen anything. A little frustrated that I'm not seeing any changes per the September comments. But I want to see what's coming.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yep.
Is it possible that we could get additional information at least a week prior to our next meeting so that we're able to review it and have the opportunity to ask informative questions at the next meeting?
I will certainly pass it along to the developer, and make every attempt to help them best I can to get you the information you need.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion extra? All in favor? Let's do a roll call so Marilyn can get it straight.
Councilmember Ward, aye.
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 Nay.
All right, that passes. First reading, consider a development agreement, DA-25-02, request for 4 parcels, TMS 162-02-00-017, 162-0.
They were flipped. They
Oh.
were flipped by
So you need
accident.
to read the other one.
Oh,
We will go to 14.
okay.
They have me all screwed up.
Hold up, we did 14.
And we didn't do 13.
We didn't do-
Yeah, they were
we
flipped.
did
The numbers are
15
flipped.
first.
We just did 15, we need to do 14.
Or other way around.
All right. So, well, I just read 14.
No, you read the.
You
did read
Yeah, I did.
14, but
Yeah.
we just
Because I
did 15.
recused myself
Yeah.
on 14.
Yeah, that was the Weathers
I'm not
track.
recusing
Weathers track
myself
has
on
15 on it. So
Right.
we need to back up to 14 and do Village Square development, correct?
But then I didn't read 15. That's what I'm saying. If we just did the other one, see what I'm saying?
But it's 15.
So 15,
Yeah, we did, I think it said.
right,
Mayor,
So to get the numbers, we voted on the weather's track.
We voted.
Okay.
So just, yeah, we'll do Village Square.
all right. So consider a development agreement, DA-25-01, request for one parcel.
I gotta go back, Mr. Mayor.
Oh.
We gotta go back.
Yeah, I mean, somehow we got something wrong in this packet. And
it's not the packet, it's the PowerPoint.
Track,
It's the
Ms.
PowerPoint.
Maryland, for the record, I do not have to recuse myself on. So I can take vote on that. Being that this is first reading, I would vote yes on this, but with severe pause for the next reading. The next one, I'm not sure what we're dealing with item number wise, but whatever this one is the one I'm recusing myself on.
The Stio one.
You got that part under control, I know you did. Sorry about that.
so we're right here on this one now. All right. So consider a development agreement, DA-25-01, request for one parcel, 162-0001-017, totaling 31.3 acres located on US Highway 52. The parcel will be zoned plan development PD to allow single-family detached dwelling units, commercial development, and dedicated civic recreation space.
Mr. Mayor, very similar situation. This is the 30 unit, or the 30 acres on Moss Grove, looking at A units. There's a floor of 26,000 square feet of the commercial with up to 60,000 square feet is the ceiling on that one. They are going through a amendment through Planning Commission next week for architectural standards that they hope to have approved and recommended by Planning Commission. Very similar situation. You all already heard this. This was the one you all heard in August. This is the first reading just for the development agreement, with the second public hearing for the development agreement March 17th, and the second public hearing for the planned development March 17th as well. This will include about 2 ball fields, a basketball court, a pavilion, very similar to the one in our recreation park facility now, and I believe some food truck hookups for the off chance that we want to host events out there and things of that nature. At that point, very similar situation to the Weathers track. It's development agreement only.
So this still has, some comments with planning commission?
So one of the recommendations that staff had, and that I believe y'all had, was that the renderings provided by the developer of the residential units, the 80 residential units proposed, looked very good, but there were no teeth in the PD. As we keep going through some of the PDs that are under construction now, we're finding out that there can be better protections in there, and so we recommend that the developer go back and get a recommendation from Planning Commission for architectural standards that anybody's yet to seen, and hopefully that comes before y'all with a recommendation Planning Commission heard next week.
But as far as the layout of this development,
Nothing will change.
I don't think there was any
No, sir.
changes or any recommendations. Yeah, that's what I recall on this one. I think the Weathers track was the one that
Right.
we had so many questions on the first
Right.
time, because they had a good mixture. And correct me if I'm wrong, that they had their commercial set in stone as far as what they were building.
That was our intention, yes, sir. There is, Wofford Stribling of the Style Group is in attendance, just in case y'all had some questions of him, but that is staff's understanding, yes, sir.
So, do we not have any drawings from,
My apologies, we're having technical, this is not the PowerPoint that I had, so I apologize.
We
did in
saw
the
an original.
Yeah, we saw one with the
Right in the
ball
curve,
fields.
ball fields were on the right
With
next
the
to the
lake,
lake, then
right beside the
commercial,
lake.
and then the houses.
Yep.
You said the engineer of records,
Developer, yes, sir.
oh, developer? So I'm sure you heard my little rant earlier, so how do we look on commercial?
So we have a proposed minimum, I believe, in the DA right now of 26,000, is that?
You didn't have a minimum in the
Okay.
DA, you had a minimum in the PD
Okay,
of 27,000.
okay, so this is what I'm willing to commit here at council tonight. We have in our layout right now where we have our commercial center, which we call it in the Village Square, we have approximately 26,000 square feet of commercial, which by ratio is about the same amount of commercial that what you just saw in the other PD. It actually works out to be exactly 325 square feet of commercial per door. So ratio to ratio, we have the exact same amount, but I'm willing to commit to do a floor of 25% of that. And so having a floor of 25% would get either two of the small buildings online or one of the larger buildings online. And so I think by doing that, the first one in is always kind of how everybody wants to, the first one in is going to be the most difficult, but we will put the first one in if that's what it takes to get this approved. Going on top of that, we've worked super close with staff and have worked through this developer agreement and PUD over months and months, and I feel like we've received a lot of really good feedback on it. I just want to kind of put one thing into, just put some numbers out there, is that we've committed to a baseball field, a basketball court, pavilion, bathrooms, food truck hookups, and running some preliminary estimates on that is we're to the tune of about $2 million of public infrastructure that we're going to be dedicating over as civic space. What that works out to is about $25,000 a door. So, which is a very, very heavy lift on our side. The reason I can do that is I'm a land developer. I'm not a home builder. So we can do that and rely on the commercial component of this to be our moneymaker, frankly, rather than a project that's trying to do a smaller amount of recreation space and trying to get as many homes in as possible. So, yes, sir.
2 ball fields, right?
2 ball fields.
Okay.
2 ball fields, 1 basketball court, partridge in a pear tree. But yeah, we've run preliminary numbers on that of being approximately $2 million, $20,000 per door. I would say that's probably the largest I've ever done in my career of public contribution as part of a project, but we're happy to do it because we really believe in this project. And we really want to set a high bar for future projects that we're bringing to the town of Moncks Corner.
If we had developers that went as good back and forth with staff than this one, it would help a great deal. Once again, to the people watching, people at home, this is going to be 2 baseball fields. Councilman Ware brought up that we are running out of room with the facilities we have. But this is going to give us access to 2 more fields on top of the basketball pavilion, bathrooms, and all that. We had looked at soccer first. It just didn't work out. I would love to have a dedicated soccer facility in this town because soccer is growing so much. But once again, this is bringing a commercial element to the town, which pays the bills. It's also bringing rec to the town that every one of us can use. This is going to be signed over to the town of Moncks Corner. All of us citizens will own a piece of that property.
And if I could just add one more comment on there too, as much as I like Justin's car sales pitch to y'all, my engineer brain likes to make it a little bit simpler. It's more, I like to think of it like a responsibility matrix, right? Like, we have designed this beautiful subdivision. We feel like we've done a lot of things. Let's put it on paper, who's responsible for what, right? And so the DA, in my eyes, is I'm looking at it, and the DA tells me I'm responsible for all infrastructure costs. I'm responsible for the park construction costs. I'm responsible for stormwater, which I will add, we are not only designing to the 25-year storm. I've met with Hussey Gabe Bell, which is, I believe, the on-call engineer for the town of Moncks Corner, and we're gonna elevate that to the 100-year storm to be even more sensitive to downstream water bodies. We're gonna be responsible for water, sewer, road installation, and very explicitly saying that they're either going to be county or private and not a burden that the town of Moncks Corner is gonna have to take over on roadways. But what your end of the bargain is whenever we turn the park over, it's gonna be perpetual maintenance for y'all, but you'll have 2 brand-new constructed ball fields. And obviously that y'all be reviewing the permits, and it's more outlining, hey, we're gonna do this whole development, who's responsible for what? We got a lot of responsibilities, y'all got, you know, I'm hoping to keep as little responsibilities on the town of basically taking over the park, making sure that permits and things run smoothly, and that's all, you know, outlined in there, and that the town is gonna agree that our architectural review board process is adequate. And so, even taking that off of y'all too. So, happy to answer any other questions, but, hopefully my engineer brain, way of describing it is a little different in car sales, but that was a good job too, though.
Remind me again, what was your floor on your commercial? What did
So,
you-
so
what did you commit to?
I was gonna propose, in our PUD, we have approximately 26,000 square feet drawn and shown.
Yep.
On there. We have no theoretical max, I believe, because we just can't park it. We have a dedicated, the way we wrote our PUD is a little different. It's like, if we could park it, we could put as much commercial as possible, but we've met a lot with Carolina retail experts, they're gonna be kind of a partner of ours on this, and they've already generated, and they're getting a lot of interest, even after some of these public hearings of people calling saying like, hey, I wanna be in there, I wanna be in there. That'd be in small shops, barber shops, ice cream shops, cafes, that sort of thing. Being next to a public facility like that, there's gonna be a lot of interest coming in there. So what we have shown on the plan right now is 26,000 square feet. And I was proposing that we could do 25% of that, which I think works out to about 6,500 square feet, so plus or minus. But, we'd be happy to, I mean, I'm looking for feedback on that. I mean, if that's adequate, I think the biggest thing, I mean, the smallest building we have would be approximately 15% and 4,000 to 5,000 square feet. That would be one of the 4 buildings that we have shown in our conceptual plan. We'd be happy to do at least one, or if you wanna do it by square footage, I'm open to feedback on that. But I do think that the first person to go vertical out there will attract and bring more behind it. Well, I know the disaster scenario from the town of Moncks Corner's standpoint is probably us building it and nothing ever comes, you know. Build it and they will come, let's hope, but we will put one up. If it's that important, we will do it.
I'd like to see a 10 minimum instead of 6,500, but yeah,
Okay.
we can work on that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to recollect the drawings from, when did we look at this, in August?
Yes, sir.
It's the same.
I think I looked at it more after the meeting. I went back through it, looked at my packet some more. Is it the entire back of this property a floodway?
No, sir.
The back of the property is a floodway, yes, sir.
It is.
Smart.
The,
To the right, not the back.
yeah, so right along the northern portion of the commercial, there's a sliver of floodway, and then as it works its way down towards the pond down there, there is some floodway. But we have already pursued and started our FEMA coordination for that. And so one of the things that I talked in the meeting a week or two ago with Hussey Gay Bell was, I know that there was a lot of discussion about downstream water bodies. There is a culvert that DOT, I know, has downstream of us that has eyes on it. If there is one stormwater report and one stormwater modeling of anything going on in Berkeley County that's going to get the most scrutiny, it is going to be this one, and I understand that. And so we have federal agency of FEMA that's going to be reviewing this for the 100-year flood staging. And so what we're having to do is a CLOMAR and a LOMAR, which is an adjustment and remodeling of the floodway to prove that we are going to lower water elevation in that flood system. And the way that we do that is that we actually carve more volume off of the banks. So if we're filling, you know, a foot over here, we can cut 5 feet out of banks and just add more volume to that overall basin. On top of that, we have not only agreed to doing the county minimum 25-year flood analysis, we're gonna take it all the way to the 100. And so DOT, because they are an integral part of this, and we are gonna have to do turn lanes, DOT is going to require reviewing our stormwater plans. Justin is going to, in sending that through Hussey Gabel, is going to review stormwater plans. I believe Berkeley County is going to be reviewing stormwater plans. FEMA is going to be reviewing stormwater plans. And we have very capable engineers with LJA and Associates who have done extensive floodway work and are very familiar with the process and have been really great to work with on everything. And even getting a head start on this with FEMA because of that process being so lengthy. And so I myself, being a civil engineer, I know that we're without a doubt going to go above and beyond to ensure that this site is adequately drained and not causing downstream water problems.
And I don't doubt your capabilities of it, but I'm thinking about what we're dealing with California Branch and buying homes and everything else through there that are flooding. And then we're looking at putting more units within a flood zone.
I see where you're coming from with that. But I think the difference in California Branch and the homes along Jolly and Whitesville and Winter and Hill Street is those homes were built way back in the day before there were flood guidelines to adhere to. A lot of those houses are built 1.5 feet off the ground. Now standard crawl space is 4 blocks high. And this is being engineered from scratch and under scrutiny of FEMA, Army Corps of Engineers, I'm sure is involved in
100%.
some.
That was the one I forgot.
NRCS or NCRS.
OCRM.
Acronym.
OCRM.
Oh, yeah. I would have more confidence in this not affecting something than what we're dealing with here in town that's 100-year-old problems.
And just to give you a little frame of reference on that too, our normal stormwater analysis for a project like this may cost $30,000 to $40,000 to go through and do all of that coordination with either just the town and the county and the state. Where we've incorporated going to FEMA, having to do the CLOMAR, LOMAR, I couldn't tell you exactly what those stand for, but those are the analysis that we have to do for FEMA at a federal level whenever we're touching or working near those things to prove that we're gonna increase the volume in that floodway. That is about a $150,000 study that we're committed to doing, and it's just a very above and beyond level of scrutiny. We're not talking, and with that study, the reason it's so expensive is it's not just at our site. We're studying hundreds of acres and how all of these things tie together and everything downstream basically until it gets to the ocean. And modeling every single culvert, every pinch point from here to Kingdom Come into the Atlantic Ocean that will demonstratively show that we're going to hold enough water back, release it at a slow enough rate, not hit at the peaks of the existing peaks of those channels and things like that, and get water out of our system at the correct time as to not inundate that system anymore. With the eyes of about 7 agencies on top of us, so. I love talking stormwater, so I can keep going, but this is one that has a lot of scrutiny on it, and I can very confidently say that we get through these review agencies and let them do their job on this, and this will be a successful project.
All right. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? First reading, consider a text amendment TA-25-01, request to amend Article 7-13 Architectural Standards of the Town Zoning Ordinance to modify exterior building material standards. Justin?
Yes, sir. This requested text amendment came from Town Council, one of 3 people that can do that. Was requesting that we look at metal-sided buildings and to allow them currently within the town zoning ordinance. We do not allow metal-sided buildings in non-residential areas. We do allow them in people's backyards and things of that nature. But the design objective was exterior metal buildings was specifically out of section 713. The current proposal is, so everything in yellow is the change, right? Metal exteriors are not permitted unless used as is the current rule. So this gives the flexibility for non-residential users to have accessory structures, metal sided, up to 1,500 square feet on their property. 2 points of note, obviously 1,500 square feet is a number thrown out there. So that's the maximum, but also it's accessory structures is the key. So it can't be a principal structure, it can't be principal in nature to the business. It's gotta be something that's secondary and otherwise would not be allowed to exist without the principal use. I wanna make sure that it's very clear, distinguish between principal and accessory.
I'm so against changing this, you know, I went on a ride with Justin, and when this first all come up, you know, and I'm not gonna get into a lot of the details on the first reading of why we're here on this, but I will later on. We went around town and looked at the different areas that a metal building could be put on. Because at first it was the talk of, we'll put it off the road where we can't see it, right? That was the whole sell of it at the beginning. But we can't do that. This will be any metal building from anywhere. I mean, you know, we looked at across from where we're going to put the new town hall, the area between the print shop and Steve Davis's can have a metal building. Beside the florist shop by Corner Square, that area there could have a 1,500 square foot metal building. This one here is sitting beside Steve Davis's office right now. It's one that was built in the past. And that's a good look on it. Look from the side, the roof's rusted up, it's faded out real bad. And that's from the view of Town Hall. And we could put probably 2 or 3 more right beside it if they wanted to. This ordinance does not have any teeth to protect us from any metal building. Do you have other slides that you done, Justin? And I asked Justin to get the worst case scenario of what this could be at some different locations in town.
That's a principal
Is that Steve?
property, I mean, that's a principal building on that piece of property. That's not a subsequent structure like a storage building, right?
Well, I think that's what they use it for
For a storage building?
that yellow one.
That's a separate piece of property, isn't it? It was,
That I'm not sure.
That was-
Right, but
Gene Hill built that and he used it to store coffee and things in,
That's right.
30 years ago.
right, but
It was by itself, before
That's right.
Steve Davis built that office.
But the print shop, if they own beside it, if they want to put a storage of 1,500 square foot metal building, they can. That's the whole key. This ordinance doesn't give us much leeway to go in there and pick and choose what's allowed and what's not allowed. You come to the end of 17 at Huddle House beside it, you know, and these are worst case. They could build a piece of junk metal building. Of course, you wouldn't right off the get-go, but you could, or it could end up looking like that. But these are areas that these metal buildings could just pop up in under this ordinance. And, you know, my whole argument to it is, and this happened before I was on council, but in 2022 is when the ordinance was passed to ban the metal buildings. So within 5 years, we're back here wanting to allow it. And, you know, when we have companies that want to come to town, Justin and Carter fight to get the best possible product. We just got approval with, who was it? Aspen Dental, Chipotle's. We have been pushing back for how long?
Each of those properties, we have been back several times a month each.
Because we wanted a better product for the town of Moncks Corner. The Fifth Third Bank we are getting, they just opened one in Somerville. Ours is much nicer. Our cookout is much nicer than what a normal one does. Do you have the?
No, sir, I did not include that one.
Because usually it's just a fake window, a black shiny fake window. We got a herringbone design. We got accents on it. We got a nice palmetto flag on it. So here we are pushing for high standards in Moncks Corner. We want people to come to Moncks Corner and not treat us like a second-class citizen. We want them to step up. How are we going to hold these companies that wants to come to Moncks Corner to that standard, the high standard, if they drive through town and see metal buildings popping up everywhere? I just don't like it. I think we're doing it for the wrong reason. And like I said, I'm not getting into a lot of the reason why we're doing it on first reading, but believe me, if this passes tonight, you're going to hear a lot more from me about why we're doing this, and it's not right.
Can I say
Mr. Mayor,
something to
if I
this?
may,
Can I say something real quick?
go ahead.
So where I'm at with this right now is if we're not gonna allow somebody to put a storage building, we shouldn't allow it in a residence yard either.
That's behind the house.
They should be banned altogether.
It's behind these commercial buildings too.
That right there could be built beside that.
That building has been up there. This, Justin, with all due respect to you, you pulled the worst buildings that we could possibly do in town. These should have some kind of looking into as well. But these are the ones that you pulled for this to show metal buildings. These things were probably built out of metal, 1970s, 1980s? It's not what metal looks like anymore. You've got some of the best looking buildings you can get in metal buildings. I've got one behind my house. You've got one behind your house, Mr. Mayor. I was the one that brought this up, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I brought it up. We voted for this back in 2022 when it was brought to our attention that we had some concerns about metal buildings taking over the downtown area. Since that time, we have had some of the best looking metal buildings come into the downtown area if you look at them. These buildings now come with facades on them. They come with board and batten siding look on them that look better than some of your traditional structure buildings. Here's what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about, and I mean no disrespect to this, but what we have just talked about is Chipotle and what was the other one?
Cookout.
We're talking $1 million companies. I'm talking what this town and this community was built on, which is small business. And I've had many, many small businesses since we passed this ordinance come to me and say, I can't afford to build in Moncks Corner. I need to be able to do this. I need to be able to do that. St. John's Christian Academy would like to have a building that you can't see from the road that is just going to be like their field house, where if you've ever been back there to their football field, that's a metal building. It's a great looking metal building. But since we passed this, now they cannot do anything for their softball field. Their softball girls are complete without a building because of our ordinance that we put in place. That is something that I see as governmental control of somebody's property. Take it how you want to. The problem is that we've had other people. I've had somebody from the school district call me and say, so you mean to tell me with this ordinance at Berkeley High School, if we need to put up a temporary classroom trailer, we can't do it because you've got this ordinance in place? I'm seeing problem after problem after problem. We have somebody that wants to go on the outskirts of town right now. They would like to open a business. They have been in business in Moncks Corner. They cannot afford a brick building. We have somebody that would like to go out on Old Highway 52. We have been dealing with them. They have a real need in the town of Moncks Corner, and they provide a great service to the community. They cannot afford it because they just got a price on what it's going to cost them to do a brick building. So they have had to pull out of their project completely. We are hurting small business, and that is what this community was built on, period. Nope, I'm not done. Please let me finish. If you want to show pictures of metal buildings, you could have picked better ones than this. I'm disappointed in these photos, I'll be honest with you.
Well, these
Not
aren't
only am I-
buildings.
Hold on a second.
They're not buildings.
Hold on a second. I'm not finished, and let me finish. These buildings are not representative of the metal buildings that I brought this ordinance forward to, and everybody here knows that. This is not what we're talking about. If you look at, there's buildings on Hetley Street, on Altman Street. Those buildings look great. They are a huge asset to our town. No, I agree with you. Some of these need to be controlled, but some of these are from 1980. We should have been going in there helping these people, figuring out how to make this look better before now. But that doesn't have anything to do with this ordinance. What we're doing here with this ordinance is we're trying to correct something that we caused a problem with. When I presented this, I voted on this. In 2022, I voted on this. And ever since then, every now and then with council, you realize that, hey, we created something here that's hurting people. And so what do? You go back and fix it. And that's why I brought this to the table. That's why I want to fix this. We're not all $1 million businesses. I'm a small business owner myself. I don't work under a corporation, okay? brick's expensive, okay? I believe in supporting the people that supported this community when this community was up and coming, and it wasn't million-dollar corporations. So that's my take behind it. I make a motion to approve that.
We're not done speaking on it yet, so you wait on
I
your
made a
motion till I
motion,
call
so we
for it.
can second, and then we can have
Well,
discussion.
we're not to the motion yet. All right, now, these buildings aren't there. I asked Justin to put in what could be built, worst-case scenario. Now, under Councilman Law, on his theory that these buildings are super nice, does this ordinance make it that way? Is that addressed, that where we tell them what materials, what they have to use, how they have to build it?
Our current ordinance?
The ordinance that we have in front of us.
Yes, sir. It specifies that durable materials and goes into certain details about which materials are appropriate.
Then on the other side of it is, what about metal buildings that can be built right off the street? I mean, we can't control that. We can't say buildings that can't be seen from the street.
Most of your commercial buildings, though, with all due respect, do not have a side yard. They are going to be utilized in the back, which is why we call them accessory, not principal. We are still stopping the principal, and we're limiting it to 1,500 square feet. And correct me if I'm wrong, we also have in here that it can not be bigger than X amount of percentage of their primary, correct?
That was not in there, no.
So we did not add that before the other thing. I'm still good with it. The 1,500 square feet, we limited on 1,500 square feet, and it's not a principal structure. There you go.
I still think that it's a bad look for the town. You know, we just held Moncks Corner Baptist Church to a standard of a brick building at a cost to them of what, $120,000 just for the exterior of the building, all brick that backs up to our ball fields. Should we cut them a check for 40% to give back to them if we would have allowed a metal building? We've held these in the last 3 years to the standard, and now you want to flip-flop. You know, you brought up St. John's, I'll bring up St. John's. They put in an application for a shed, not a locker room, a shed. I didn't hear anything about it till I was called by someone at the school asking if I could look into the process. I want y'all to listen to this. It's very important. So I called and asked about where it was, and I was told it was for the girls' softball locker room. There is a big difference between a tool shed and a girls' locker room. Life, safety, health, right? Okay. So at that point, we sent someone out, and they had already poured a pad. Did you get a permit? No. They just poured it. So we was not told what it was for to begin with. Then they went ahead and did a pad without any inspections, without anything. So what we're doing now is trying to fix that. That's what we're trying to do here. We can cherry pick it all we want.
They
You know,
can build
I have nothing against a metal building for St. John's. They was given an option of putting a facade on it, right, to make it look nice. They refused that. They said they couldn't do it for whatever reason. But if we go back on something that was just done 3 or 4 years ago and say we're going to allow metal buildings, then yeah, maybe the majority of them are behind. But what are the ones that aren't behind? That's where I'm getting at. Do you want quality here? Do you want our staff to fight for better product for Moncks Corner, or you just let anything in? That's the thing. We should not be treated any less than any other town in the Low Country. So that's what I instructed staff to do and fight for. I don't like the metal building thing. I think that just cheapens the town overall when it's built like that. I think when you're building on your home, just like Jay's is behind his house, mine's behind my house, it's totally different what we're talking about where you can put them in these open areas. So.
I can see yours from the road, I can see Jay's from the road, I can see everybody's from the road. So they're still visible, and they're still a metal building.
All right, now.
I must say, I don't disagree with what Brian said. I feel very hypocritical being where I am, that you can see mine, but I'm going to tell you, you can't do it on your property. That's just not the position that I'm in, and that's why, listen, I go back to what I said, I don't disagree with you. You're allowed to have your own opinion. I'm not up here to yell and scream about that, but what I am saying is, sometimes we're gonna do things that later we look back on and say that wasn't the best decision, we gotta correct it. And yes, that's gonna happen. It happens over and over and over again. And so, again, everybody's got their opinion on this, that's mine, with all due respect to everybody else.
All right, we got a motion to approve from Councilman Law.
One second.
Oh,
Councilman Law, you said that, you thought that there was a limit, like a percentage limit?
Justin, you wanna talk on that? Because there is a limit, it's 1,500 square feet.
But would that make it better, I'm asking Mayor also, would that make it better if it was a limit of the primary structure? So if the primary structures,
It can't be a primary.
no, not it being a primary structure. but
percentage
has to
of
be a
it.
percentage.
Under
Right,
a
so, like,
certain percentage
it
of
can
the
be
total.
The metal structure, 20% of the primary structure. Is that something that can be considered to add to it? Meaning that, so you won't get a structure that someone builds that's a brick that's 200 square feet, and then all of a sudden you have a 1,500 square foot metal structure, right?
Well, if you don't mind, let me kind of go back to the St. John's thing, for example. They've been asking for a year now for something to be able to do, and it's never come to fruition. For whatever reason, everybody's got, whatever. But that is, it's been going on for a year. These girls haven't had their space, whatever it is, to keep their stuff in, to store their stuff, and it's been kicked down the road for a year. Now here we are at softball season again, they still don't have a building. So if we kick this back and add that in there, which we can do, whatever council feels like, but if we kick that back, it's got to go back through planning again, then come back to us, then come to us for a second reading. We're out of softball season at that point, so we've just pushed them down the road another 2 years. So, but that's my only thought.
If I can, real quick. So there was an earlier conversation about 1,500 square foot and a max of 20%.
Right.
That got lost between Mr. Westbrook and myself, so that's why it's not in there. I don't think you'd have to go back to planning commission if you wanted to add that.
Then I'm okay adding it. I mean, all I don't want to do, listen, it's not about one person, this person, somebody being able to do this, somebody not being able to do that. To me, at the end of the day, it's just about not hurting our small businesses, and that's a lot of what I'm seeing from this ordinance that we created. I'm admitting it. I voted for it. I don't think you were here, Mr. Mayor.
No.
But I voted for it because I thought it was a good idea at the time. After I've seen and talked to the public, and I work with the public, and I work with these commercial people that are wanting to build businesses here, and those small businesses can't afford it. I mean, if we're gonna only talk about the $1 million businesses, fine. If that's all we want in the town of Moncks Corner, are these, corporations that can afford a brick and mortar, fine. But that's not what this community was built on, and that's not what I'm interested in as a council person in looking at. So I'm back to this ordinance because I believe we may have slightly erred in preventing it altogether, just saying no. I think we may have erred there. That's where I am.
I like the ordinance. I mean, and I'm going to talk to you, it's not about the $1 million, billion-dollar companies. It's about we are holding them to a higher standard of quality. And to me, it weakens our position if we're trying to get them to give us the best of the best that they build across the nation, and then they come through town and just see metal buildings popping up.
But our people, Mr. Mayor, all I'm gonna say to that is this. This is a community, I am small business. Call me over the top when I'm trying to protect small business. I'll take that criticism. But we're talking about holding it to a higher standard. I agree with you. Nobody's gonna agree more to that, okay? I agree with that. The problem is some of these people can't afford that standard. Some of the standard that we're trying to push on them, of brick and mortar, they can't afford it. They can't afford it. And these are people that have been there all their lives, and we're gonna tell them, you can't pursue your business here. We don't want you unless you're brick and mortar. I just disagree, and I'm respectfully disagreeing.
And I get it. We're gonna, look, if anyone comes, me and Jay are good. I'll tell you that right now. We can have a disagreement. We can be good with it. I just don't want to bring the stuff to this town that's gonna hurt us down the road. We offered a facade which would have made the metal building look a lot better. So you still could have built the building at a good cost. We offered, if you put a facade on it, we're good with it. We was turned down. So at least let's have the standards in place of what they have to look like, just not what it's made of and all. You know, let's just not have just something that's just a metal building. Let's make a facade. Let's make it look like something that's nice. Then
Again,
I would be
I'm
more
sorry.
apt to talk about it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Again, this ordinance, though, to me, is accessory dwellings. We're not talking about primary. If we want to go back and look at the primary buildings, I'm okay with that too. But this right here before us is just secondary accessory buildings. And, I mean, that's where I am.
Some people may be willing to vote on this tonight, but I think we've got too many up here that are too far apart. My motion would be to table this and then us get back to the drawing board. It seems like either there's been some second thoughts on this or we need to tighten it up to some aspects, allow this, not allow that. But I think I'm too far apart on the arguments here.
What would you tighten up on it? Here's the thing, you know,
I mean, y'all have gone from secondary structures to a percentage of a primary structure to not visible from the road to how do we control visibility from the road to this and that.
we have answers to all of that.
We can go back and watch this marathon we've had.
But we have answers to all of that, and it is.
I don't think it's in the ordinance though, Jeff.
Right.
It's not in the ordinance to the letter of the law.
But-
That's what I'm going at.
But here's what I'm telling you, we can't have it where you say you can't see it from the street.
Okay.
Justin, do you want to explain
I
that a little bit?
understand that.
As to
I
why
think-
that's not in there?
The principal reason why staff omitted the can't see it from the street is because it's very subjective in a lot of different ways. There's something that I learned a long, long time ago, you cannot write the perfect ordinance, as we're finding out tonight. You will always have somebody, whether they do it on purpose or they don't mean to, challenge the interpretation. And visibility from the street has too many open-ended questions on what that means. There's a lot of different situations I can rattle off right now that could be visible street from the street. So for example, are we talking about any street? Because to the mayor's point about the soup kitchen, that's technically not a street in the recreation facility. That's a named driveway. Are we talking about, St. John's, for example, where it's behind a whole bunch of woods? Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but it becomes very subjective. What if the road is higher than the foliage? What if the road's higher? What if somebody next door cuts down the trees? Do you mean you can't see it from the street because you're landscaping, or 2 acres between you and the closest road? It's very difficult to
Yeah, I don't
enforce.
think you
That's why we
can
left
define
that
it
out.
from that aspect, but this is something I think
Yes,
that
sir.
we can iron out at a later time. I think you could set something up and go 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 feet from a named highway or paved road. And that would be far enough off that nobody's gonna notice. If they're noticing something like that when they're driving by, they're gonna be in somebody's yard. Because they're not paying attention to the highway.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways this could be written, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now,
I
you,
understand.
you had a different draft that was stronger language, correct? That didn't get brought.
I had a first draft, yes, sir, and that looked at the entirety of this section, which runs the gamut from colors to materials to be used to how they're supposed to look, even for large shopping centers. In my attempt to bring clarity to the entirety of the section, which reads more like a novel and is more suggestive than anything else, I wanted to kind of trim it up a little bit. But the request was this, and we amended it to address the request specifically.
Well, here's my question. Right now, this is accessory dwellings. We're gonna go in there, we're gonna change some things. We're gonna add the percentages on the building. Right now, the only thing we're talking about is accessory building, period. It's true, the girls at St. John's we just talked about need their softball thing. Before the end of the year would be nice, I'm sure they would appreciate that. So, can we not approve something for accessory dwellings and then come back and add as we want to?
Accessory dwellings accessory buildings is the
Right.
phrase. Accessory dwellings would be an apartment. A dwelling is where people.
You're right.
I just would like to firm up how these things are gonna look, because there's different levels of metal buildings. trust me, I bought mine out of North Carolina. It's not as nice as Jay's building. It's just not, so there's different levels. Does this address what kind of building they could build? Per the look?
No, sir.
I guess for the, Mr. Mayor, but I guess my thing is, we care if it's an accessory building at the back of their property. I don't know that I care.
But this don't make it where it's at the
I mean,
back of the
frankly- and
property.
frankly, we've been talking about St. John's a lot. Let's be honest, I'm the only one that's gonna see the darn bill. I mean,
The ordinance is
frankly,
not clear
and I'm the
enough to
only one-
vote on. I move to table it, and we'll reconvene here. I say we give all of council about a week to review this, mark it up to their specs, send it to both Jeff and you, Justin.
Yes, sir.
And then we circle back around. Even if we have to have a special meeting in 2 weeks, I'll participate in that and we can vote on it. But I just think there's too much ambiguity as to what we've got right now and to where we want to go with this thing. We can modify, amend as necessary, but my move is to table for tonight.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Old business, there's no old business to be brought before council. Public input, if you signed up for public input, I'll call your name. Please come to the podium and state your name and address. You will have 3 minutes to speak. This time is to give citizens a chance to give town officials feedback. If you'd like to follow up, have checked a box on the sign-up sheet. Someone from the appropriate department will be in touch. This meeting is for council and I to conduct the business of the town of Moncks Corner. First is Mr. Art Nichols.
Art Nichols, 250 Oakley Road, Moncks Corner, South Carolina. As a lot of you on council know, I was here some months ago and I wasn't able to stay and speak because I had to go load out some corn, but I've been having some problems there at my shop with water. And tonight we heard about downstream. I'm upstream from a housing development right beside me. And when they went in and built that housing development, that was all wetlands. That was all wetlands in there. So you need to, council really needs to understand the difference between groundwater and surface water for future developments coming in to Berkeley County. But the new development that's right beside me, the developer wanted me to give him X amount of footage there for them to dig a ditch or whatever. Not gonna do it. So they went ahead, built the homes. If you notice, the homes are up a little bit. The road is down. My water, I've never had any problem with it because it always drains. Well, now my ground is pumping, and this all started after these homes that are right beside me were built. I'm continuously having to go in and add rock. Now that $850 a load for rock, and I put 4 in there since you've been out, Mr. Mayor. I'd rather give that $850 to a kid to buy a lawnmower. I know tonight we talked about recreation, but I'd rather give that money to a kid to learn to be a smart businessman and grow. Recreation's great. But my point being is, I've talked with Justin. Justin and me have been back and forth. And 3 or 4 weeks ago, Justin was gonna have something to me on Monday. Now, I have an engineer that I want to review because I don't want to put a Band-Aid on this problem. I know that it said that the HOA would keep it up. That's a joke. An HOA is not going to keep up something out there as far as drainage. But this problem here, and I talked to the city administrator there, and I told him, I said, well, would you like to pay for some of this rock? I'll send you the bill. His words were, you can send me the bill, but I'm not going to pay for it. Well, I'm the one that's suffering for where previous mayors and so forth approved this housing development in a wetland. What are we gonna do? I called a couple of weeks ago and asked for a code enforcement to come by. No, the code enforcement didn't come by. The lady asked me, she said, are you at such and such? She knew right off the bat what the problem was. They have come in, they cut the fence off under the bottom, but we still got dirt that doesn't let the surface water off. If you notice about the potholes out on our roads, 52, other roads, that water has nowhere to go. That road's sitting there just like a sponge. So we've stopped all the water from having a place to go on 52 down through that neighborhood. That's a new neighborhood put in there. Wetlands are important. That wetland was imported to me because it let my water drain that I've been there for now 20-something years. So what are we gonna do with this problem?
Jeff, do you have any feedback? I know I was told that this was hopefully coming to a conclusion.
There's an engineering solution, and I think as of today, we received an agreement from the development to improve the stormwater outflow. Justin would have more details that he can get with you.
Right, and I understand that word improve, but it's gotta be taken care of, and that's why I have an engineer that I want to look at the plans and say, yes, and let me point this out. The engineers that you had to come out, when I met with Justin and all, I said, can you tell me a little bit about this development? They had no clue that that used to be wetlands. So going back to our local people that grew up here and those engineers, that's the people you need that know what this is. Those guys were from, where was it, Pennsylvania, somewhere Justin can tell you. But we need,
Well,
where were they? No, that guy. Okay, so you brought another person out.
We brought a
Right.
gentleman.
So for tonight, could you get with Justin before you leave, and let's get y'all two together and,
I think I need some truth, and I don't need to be wiggled around and just told what art to feel good. I need to see some action, because I'd rather take the money that I'm gonna pay an attorney to handle this and support a ball team than have an attorney getting into a match with the city over a problem that somebody didn't take care of in the past.
yeah, I hear
And I
you.
think you agree with me on that.
That wasn't one of my favorite developments either. It doesn't give you
But no,
much.
and I don't wanna get attorneys involved in something.
Well,
but
let's get-
Art's getting pushed to a point. Now, I would like Justin to answer us, or Chris to answer us in front of council, so we know that something's getting done, because they have talked to me, but it's only been to say, hey, Art, we doing this, we wanna make you feel better, but I'm not seeing anything happen.
Well, let's get
Justin, would you
the
like to come up and
follow-up.
comment
Well,
on
no,
this?
this is a long, as you can tell, a very long, and we're not done.
I
So,
understand, sir, but I'm spending money that I shouldn't have to be spending.
I understand.
And DHEC has told me the truth, because now the city is blaming it on the county. I talked with Tyler at DHEC, and he said, Art, he said, it's like now the fingers are being pointed at the county. I'm in the county, y'all the city, so there's too much going back and forth, and if we need to have another meeting on it, I'm
Yeah.
fine with that, but I would like for everybody to be in there
Well,
so that we get a truth.
let's see what come back today and get with you on that, and then we'll move forward, and you call me anytime, and I'll definitely meet with you.
I appreciate it.
All right. We also have Sharon Daniels come up to the podium.
Good evening. How are you all?
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm here on behalf of a citizen of Moncks Corner, South Carolina. I do live out of the city limits, but attending the MLK parade.
What's your address, so we have it for the
902
record?
Whitesville Road, Moncks Corner. Attending the parade in the past, and it was never traffic flowing at the same time during the parade. So once the parade crossed over from Main Street, crossed over 17A, coming down Highway 6 past Piggly Wiggly, it was traffic. And I've watched this parade from the Bennett's, not law firm, but
Bill Bonds.
Bell Bosman building. And I had to cross the street. And my concern is, like you said, when you come to Moncks Corner, you know, you want to be respected. You want to, you know, everybody is respected. And Dr. Martin Luther King is deceased, but what he represents needs to be respected, I feel. And also, I'm concerned about the safety of, because I have grandchildren, I have senior citizen family members, and myself. If I was marching during that parade and any of those vehicles that were coming decided, somebody could have said, you know what, I'm just gonna ram into them. Or maybe, like you said, they're on their phone. I'm sorry for the young child that got hit, but somebody could have not been paying attention and ran into one of us that was participating in that parade, you know? And if it was one of my grands, I didn't want anybody coming knocking on my door telling me, I'm sorry this has happened, you know, and I understand it's money, because I spoke with Ms. Coleman on this. I spoke with you. Matter of fact, I yelled at you in the parade.
And
I have it
Leroy.
on video. You know, I yelled at you in the parade. You know, it's safety is my concern, and the respect, because I've been attending this parade ever since they started this parade here in Moncks Corner. And I know it takes money. I know it does, but I know it's some young officers here or not here, or maybe I know that's their holiday, their day off, because it was my day off. I work in education as well. But if my boss said, you know, hey, you wanna make a few extra bucks? I'm down, especially if I'm a young family and I need the money. You know, I know it takes money. And what I have to do, if I have to join Ms. Coleman, be a part of your team to help and do what I need to do for the safety of everyone, not just mine, but everyone's children. You know, it could have been a dance team out there. You know, the cloggers. My daughters once clogged with Miss Vicky. It could have been anything, the band, anybody. It's just the respect is only for about 45 minutes, maybe to an hour.
Okay.
And we can get some patrol to stop that traffic, you know, because that's just one parade a year. You know, we could just get out there, just make it safe. We all need to participate, you know, and that's my concern. Could we get this traffic
Okay.
at a standstill when the parade, any parade, not just the MLK parade, any parade.
Right.
You know.
Okay. And Antoine, come on up, please. Thank you. You know, I did reach out to you. I know Antoine reached out and talked to you a little bit. You know, we have pre-meetings with Angela from the Progressive League. They host this parade, not the town of Moncks Corner. This year, we actually took a step above to shut down all of Main Street to 17. When we do our homecoming, when we did the Shriners, if there's a state championship, you know, that's the parade we get. It's a parade in the middle of the day. It's a lot of people are still have businesses open, et cetera, et cetera. You know, one thing I hear is, well, the Moncks Corner Christmas parade. Well, a Christmas parade's done on a Saturday night. There's a lot less traffic to do. But Antoine, you did talk to her, so if you could maybe give us a little feedback on your position on it.
Mayor, Council, Administrator. Basically, we had a conversation and she did let her concerns known as far as the traffic go. I spoke with Ms. Simmons and also Ms. Daniels, and I told them, I think what we can do is next year, we know we're gonna have the parade. We all can sit together around December, January timeframe so we can map the whole thing out. So everybody got a voice and everybody can get their point across. What happened, I do understand your concern, but only thing we can use that for is a learning tool and just move forward from it. And I did explain that to Ms. Daniels about coming together and we can talk about it.
What would it take to shut down the road from 17 to?
Logistically, we're gonna need officers. As you stated, it is a holiday. And a lot of times the officers do take their times off on a holiday because, as you know, we have numerous amount of events that we do during the town that they have to attend. So usually when they get a day that they can take off, they usually take that day off. So logistically, that's the biggest issue. But from this point forward, I believe that me and the command staff and working with the fire department, we can sit together and come up with a solution for this issue.
All right, thank you. All right. Executive session, we need a motion to go into executive session to discuss regarding contractual matters related to the purchase of property, receipt of legal advice related to proposed changes to the zoning ordinance, discussion regarding planning commission appointments. Do I have a motion? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? We are now in executive session. Maybe take 5 minutes if you got Are you ready, Mo?
Motion to go out of executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, we are now out of executive session. Are there any other matters to come before council?
Yes. I would like to make a motion that we appoint the following to the Planning Commission: Reverend Jeff Roper, Shakora Johnson, and Tori Liferidge.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Now I'm calling for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Any other discussion? All in favor?